being able to take very simple, we're doing this, this, and this, and then train that from the top down and make sure everybody understands that when this type of customer comes in, it's explained very well that we're going to go down this path. So BDC then, when they're receiving the opportunity in, they understand how to communicate with the customer. Oh, are you calling about our special on the blah, 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 blah? Yes, I am. Great. Okay. This is what we're going to do with it. Now, when it gets transferred over to the salesperson and the customer shows up for the appointment, they have the vehicle up and pulled up and ready and available. The sales manager knows that when this customer comes up to the desk, or the salesperson comes up to the desk, we're going to desk it this way because this is what the customer came in on from that marketing strategy. So it's that huge expansion of that message and making sure that not only you prep for it in the previous weeks prior to that month, but then once it launches, you have the full scale meetings internally with all of your staff, understanding the full measure of this movement. Because from a dealer's perspective, you spend a lot of money to get this marketing out there, but you're allowing people to have zero idea about the marketing, and then they're held accountable to the results of it. So you have to make sure that at the very end, the last person that's going to be interacting with this customer understands it just as well as the person that put it together.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome into another awesome Facts Not Feelings. And you're looking at the screen right now, and it's like, holy shnikes, we have a bunch of amazing people up here. We have this special, awesome rendition, I want to say episode of Facts Not Feelings with all of these amazing people up here. And it's why do we have so many different people up here? It's because we have a digital dealer, I'll say speaker spotlight. We have a ton of people up here. We've got Dave Lemmon with Dealer MG. We have Lisa with Dealer Alchemist. We have Colby, Cavender, and Wendy Reeves with BDC Angels. And we are talking all about all the times you have all these different silos in our dealership, right? We have BDC, we have paid certs, we have social, we have all these different styles. And how do we get them to talk together? How do we collaborate and drive a better efficiency and optimization in our dealerships and make those efforts and those in our dealerships? And how do we talk? Because we've all been in that in those spots. We said, all right, well, we have this great marketing idea, and it's going to be phenomenal. And paid search goes and does their thing, right? And social's like, wait, we're running what ad? And BDC is like, oh, wait, did someone want to maybe talk to us about this whole thing? I didn't even know we're running any ad. So how do you actually even measure the success of it? We have no idea. So I've assembled, actually April Simmons, the ones that assembled this whole thing, because we're talking at Digital Dealer. That's why I have this incredible crew here together. So with that, because we have this amazing team together, and before we go any further, Jeff, thank you so much. We do have a great power team. It's like the all-star Captain America assembled team that we've assembled here. There is somebody out there right now that definitely needs to hear this, and share this with them. Let them know this. Comment, get the feedback coming, because I know that someone out there, and we've all been in the dealership at this point. We've experienced this ourselves. Needs to hear this. Share this with them. Tag them. Get the comments rolling in here. And last week, as we discussed earlier, Brian Ortega, he was our winner of our Facts Not Feelings. And with that, we're going to get this thing rocking and rolling here and get this thing going. So with that, I'm gonna kick this off over to Dave first, because Dave, you're sitting over to my right here. It's going to probably flip and go to my left here in a second. But Dave, I'm gonna kick it off to you. So let's start with a little bit. You've been in the business for a bit here. Start with kind of how you got into the industry, and then we'll jump into the meat of this entire podcast here. But let us know, the audience, how kind of you got into the industry.
Yeah, definitely. So it was about 10 years ago, and I wanted to do something new. I ended up working with a company that was, of all things, actually, it was kind of a Craigslist provider in automotive. That was really their main focus. At that time, Craigslist was a big deal. So I got in. I was just a sales rep, but I was also a giant nerd, and against the company's wishes, bought my own tickets to Digital Dealer after I worked there for 3 months, and just showed up. And from there, just became a student of everything. Wanted to learn everything, introduced Facebook advertising and email marketing and a few other things to the company over time. And then Worked as a consultant for a bit, and then finally, just within the last few years, I had known the guys at Dealer OMG for years and years and years, and we all talk about things the exact same way. And we finally said, you know what? We should really figure out a way to work together. And here we are. So now I do all the client services and ad operations and all that kind of stuff for Dealer OMG.
I love it. So, because Dave, I just had you speaking there. I'm going to kick off the first question, and we're going to start with Dave and then work our way around here. Lisa, Colby, Wendy, and then if people want to jump in, have at it. But we're going to start with this: is in what we do. What specific strategies or tactics can dealerships use to encourage collaboration between paid search, BDC, the social team, and then a follow up to that's going to be how can we make sure that everyone is working towards those common same goals.
I mean, here's the thing: they have to facilitate it and they have to demand it. It's the vendors aren't going to voluntarily say, "Hey, call your search provider and get them on this call with us." Right? They're not going to voluntarily say, "Hey, call your OTT guy and let's get them on this call." But they will absolutely work within that framework if the dealer demands it and facilitates it. Right? So, for me, I have a number of clients where every time I do a monthly advertising call with them, there's 10 vendors on the call. They are the best structured campaigns we run because we know what everyone else is doing. And when their traditional creative company is creating this cool new video, I know to ask for it to get it to run it on social. OTT knows that this thing exists now. The website provider knows all of that, but that just doesn't happen that often. And I think it leads a lot of dealers to try to go to the one-stop shops, but a lot of times they lose something when they don't have specialists. So, I love the specialists, but yes, put them on the call together. Colby is exactly the kind of dealer that's going to say, like, I want all of you talking to each other and making sure that we're doing things that make sense as a unit. But the dealer has to demand it. It's not going to come from the vendors in most cases.
All right, Lisa, follow up to that question as well.
Yeah, I think collaboration is communication, right? And so you have this ecosystem, and Wendy knows how the quality of the leads are that are coming in from the traffic that we're driving from all of these sources, paid search and social. And so she wants quality traffic, right? Social, for example, can be one of your top traffic drivers, as Dave knows. And so when everybody's collaborating and working together, you just have a really clear communication of what is happening from your exterior efforts with the ads that you're running and the interior efforts of what's happening inside your CRM and with BDC.
Amen to that. Colby, you've got Dave saying here that you're working as a specialist. Bring us home on, talks a little bit more about like bringing this together and how working that collaboration.
Well, I appreciate Dave saying that I'm a specialist. I doubt that is the actual case, but I'm glad he said it publicly. At least it sounds good. I agree with both of them. You have to collaborate. I think that you have to start very simple. You have to get really the foundation and the baseline of the entire idea kind of sketched out. So, have you ever seen those Instagram reels or TikToks where the guy takes the charcoal and he's just like, and he starts drawing on it real quick, and you have like this baseline of a painting or the drawing that he's going to do, and then the further he goes into it, there's different mediums that he's using, different charcoal pieces, different items that are all going to eventually make this beautiful painting or picture. Each one of those mediums, each one of those pieces of charcoal that he's using is a different vendor partner, is a different person that's going to be inputting into that conversation. If you don't have all of that put together, you don't get that painting, or you don't get that photo. So, I by no means am ever the smartest person in the room, but I make sure to surround myself with people that are experts in their field to make sure that we can collaborate on the entire piece so that when we do push it live from a marketing or strategy point, it actually works. And then we get all the data, in response to it to turn around and say, hey, wait, that didn't work in the way that we thought. Let's go back and rehandle, but we know exactly where it messed up. So I totally agree. Collaboration, communication, and everybody really understanding their roles and where they can input their knowledge.
I could not agree more on that. So Wendy, you got to round us out on this one. BDC, man, it's so important that BDC and that collaboration. So speaking from a BDC for BDC and the world of BDC, what's your take on this?
So the role of the BDC has changed. The role of marketing, the role of all of it has changed. I remember that I was with in the same dealer situation until 2012, and it was on and off for over 30 years. And I remember like when we did our BDCs, and it was just our BDCs, so we didn't have to worry if the GM gave us the print ads or whatever it is that we were running. We knew how to use relevance when we were responding to leads, right? And then in 06, I went back in on the sales end, from the back end, from BDC to sales, and they made me internet marketing manager and one of two people in the internet sales department. So you have to understand how many of us, and any of you even closely as seasoned as I am in the industry, can relate from whatever hat you were wearing then. You didn't have to worry about telling a whole bunch of people to get everybody in sync. You knew, right? As long as you hit up the GM, oh, you got a new ad, give it to me so I can teach my team, boom. And then I went in and did the taglines in the back end of the website. I did the promos, I did the specials pages. We did it all then. So, the OGs have been there and they know what it's been. Now it's very important. We have to treat each of our departments as fingers on a hand. And in order for that hand to have any strength whatsoever to, soar to new limits, et cetera, we need to have everyone that even touches a phone on my end, anyone that even touches a phone, everybody needs to know what marketing efforts you have going on out there. And even with software, I'll even go with software, you guys. You have to educate everybody who's using it in any respect to be able to respect the customer's journey and to get from the lead, help me out. This is a little bit of the clog head kicking in
provider?
Here. The lead provider, thank you. From the lead provider to the software provider to you guys generate the traffic. But then the all important part is the BDC converting it to showroom visits, not to sales. We don't do that, to showroom visits. So we all have to be in sync. And what I do, to your point, Dave, is if I have a new lead provider or I have a new marketing agency, I have whatever, and I need something to get different pieces to someone else, then absolutely right. Start a group thread on an email and say, hey, person A meet person B. I need you guys to work together because you set and this is from the dealer aspect. I'm speaking as a BDM now. I need you, and then always CC your DP, because then your vendors are going to sit up and pay attention. Always CC the DP, even if you're dealing with the GM. That's what I always do. And they don't like to micromanage for the most part, but they like to know. So when you put their name in there, you know that you're going to get instant response, and you're going to let everybody in on the team. Okay, so now I got distracted from Dave Lemmon looking like a Bond villain. But anyway, you just basically got to make sure there's tight communication. And I love the collaboration, because that's how we're going to turn our lead generation into gold and into showroom visits.
Okay, first off, Ben, you're winning on the comments right now, is all I got to say. Ben is 100% winning on the comments.
Yeah, Ben knows me too well. I do need a Negroni.
Yeah. You need a little martini in your hand. Like, you don't know what's in this cup right now, but it could be martini, just like in a cup. You just don't know. But to your point, Wendy, and everything that's been said at this point, is that too often I'll look at look at the data, and you're working the facts. The data gets thrown around so often, but like what do the facts really say? And they feel that, oh, well, our ad agency is doing a horrible job, and it's like, okay, well, let's look at that real quickly. Well, your advertising actually did a phenomenal job. The engagement was astronomical, was out of control. And I'm literally what you guys don't know, on the left-hand screen over here, I'm getting your track battery is very low. So this should be really fun here, because my track battery is now going to die here shortly. So the joys of going live. But and I look at all this engagement on their advertising, and the engagement is just it's astronomical. When you start diving into it, once the traffic got to the BDC, it starts to falter. And it's like, okay, well, why did it falter? Well, and I start getting excuses. I go, well, let's look at how many leads you're getting. Well, we're getting 3,000 a month. Okay. How many people do you have in a house? 2. Okay. That's a problem first off. And then you say, okay, what's your process? Let's say you have enough people. What's your process? Did you let them know that you just increase your budget? Well, no. Well, if you increased your budget by so much, what about that? Did you let them know you're running a big, huge campaign? Oh, we changed. So what is your communication? How do you treat different types of lead providers? Well, a TrueCar lead, a true car opportunity. I hate the word lead. I hate the word lead. The true car opportunity is going to be way different than an Edmunds or a tier one, or all those are different. So what is your communication? So when you really break it down, stop. We had Micah Burkholz on a couple weeks ago. Stop villainizing. I love that word. Stop villainizing XYZ provider or XYZ whatever. When you didn't look at the data and say, from there, what are the actionable intelligence from that and the actionable items we can take from there and say, okay, from here and here and here, what do we do with that? And what is the data telling us versus saying, well, it just sucked. Well, did it though? Because what is it really saying? So I love everything that's being said here. So from there, what are some of those best practices to ensure that everyone is on that same page? Because I know we had a couple things here about sending emails and text messages. And Wendy, we ended with you. So I'm going to start with you. What are some of those best practices for you to ensure that everyone is on the same page?
So like I said, emails introducing the whole team. Dave's idea about a meeting, whether it's monthly or however often you need to have it, with your BDC person, your salesperson, your sales management, your vendors, etc. And here's the other thing. Ben Hadley, knock it off. Just kidding. I seriously need to not look down there. Relevance is super important, you guys. Like, we as a BDC need to have the ad copy. We need to know the customer's journey. Send us a link so we can see what the customer does, because it's only then, when we take a walk in their shoes, that we can respond to their needs and solve those automotive needs for them, whether it's financing or a product or a program or whatever. And super important, you have to have a BDM or somebody overseeing the team. I'm sorry, but a lot of teams, especially independents, which are my heart and soul, in addition to franchise dealers, but they have, whether it's on-site or outsourced, they have the wrong person overseeing the team and holding them accountable. We need to make sure that they have consistent, relevant communication with our opportunities from our lead providers, that they're not, when they don't get engagement, spitting out like dealer why buy from us stuff all over the place, instead of being relevant to the source of the lead, being relevant to, hey, it's Wendy from ABC Ford. How you doing, Brooke? Great. I'm calling about the ad that you responded to on our Facebook page. And then, be relevant, because if they're shopping a bunch of different dealers, you need to get them zeroed in. You got like 4 seconds on a live call or even a text to see if there's going to be an opportunity to reach out to them a second time. And you have to earn the right to ask for an appointment as well. There's a road to the appointment, same as there is a road to the sale. We need all the ammunition. We need all the tools in our toolbox so that we can effectively convert the opportunities that you all are generating to showroom traffic.
You get one shot at that plate, man.
Yeah.
And if you screw up that first
One
shot,
shot.
you're not good about it.
That's it.
Colby, what are you doing for those best practices?
So I think in reality, you have to look at, you can't really do any more than 3 major marketing or advertising efforts in a single month. And just from a memory standpoint, because you can get that trained down, and going even past the BDC, because you can have a BDC that knows exactly what they're doing, knows what the marketing plan is able to communicate with the customer well when that does come in, but then the appointment shows up and then the salesperson has no clue what is going on. The sales manager has no clue how to desk that deal. F&I has no clue what has happened in the last hour and a half based off of the frustration of that customer not getting what they thought that they were going to get. So therefore it loses the ability to capitalize on the F&I. So there's so many branches of that tree that get exposed to a failure at one point. So being able to take very simple, we're doing this, this, and this, and then train that from the top down and make sure everybody understands that when this type of customer comes in, it's explained very well that we're going to go down this path. So BDC then, when they're receiving the opportunity in, they understand how to communicate with the customer. Oh, are you calling about our special on the blah, 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 blah? Yes, I am. Great. Okay. This is what we're going to do with it. Now, when it gets transferred over to the salesperson and the customer shows up for the appointment, they have the vehicle up and pulled up and ready and available. The sales manager knows that when this customer comes up to the desk, or the salesperson comes up to the desk, we're going to desk it this way because this is what the customer came in on from that marketing strategy. So it's that huge expansion of that message and making sure that not only you prep for it in the previous weeks prior to that month, But then once it launches, you have the full scale meetings internally with all of your staff, understanding the full measure of this movement. Because from a dealer's perspective, you spend a lot of money to get this marketing out there, but you're allowing people to have zero idea about the marketing, and then they're held accountable to the results of it. So you have to make sure that at the very end, the last person that's going to be interacting with this customer understands it just as well as the person that put it together.
I love that. I love that. I'm going to bring up James, Lisa, right before I come up here. James, I'm looking at James. Jared Kilway saying so many dealers lack a chief strategy person to align all of these components together. I so agree with that. Lisa, up to you. What are those best practices that you're doing?
I mean, to piggyback off of what Colby was saying, and also what you mentioned earlier, which is like, where do we point the fingers? There's a failure point. Being proactive and getting everybody engaged ahead of time is a game changer. We're a digital advertising company, but we absolutely run a CRM audit, and we look for all the potholes and the positivities inside of that to understand where we need to go next. And so that's an absolute game changer. Getting the BDC director involved, the internet director involved, understanding where they've been, where they're at, and also what their goals are. And you're going to get a different answer from a BDC director than you are an internet director, than you are a general manager, And so when you get that level of communication from everyone, you get a much clearer picture of where the store needs to go. And so I think that's absolutely imperative. I mean, we're working with Brian right now. They've had a 27% increase in certified pre-owned vehicles, and that was the need that they had. So when you get that collaborative effort and you get that communication, you know exactly where you need to
go. Amen. Dave, bring us home.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, you nailed it. Jared nailed it. For me, it's personnel. It's, having, as Jared said, somebody that is not just hired, but actually empowered at the store level to control all of this in one place as one voice. And you know what? If it's not somebody in the store, then it's Brooke, then it's Sean Welsh, then go find somebody who is going to manage all of your digital partners for you and bring them together and hold them accountable. And I mean, that's huge. It's, if you have not hired and empowered one person to be responsible for all of your digital marketing, and by the way, that's all they do. That doesn't mean that when they're not in the BDC or they're not, on the sales floor or whatever, then they get to be the digital marketing manager. It means that's their role. That's their focus. They're authorized and empowered to do everything it takes to make it happen. And if you do that, you're going to see a ton more success.
I think you just hit on I don't want to say think. You hit on a very key point there, Dave, is that for those of us who have worked in the dealership and we're told, okay, yeah, so you're in charge of marketing, BDC, HR, party planning, light turner offer, take out the garbage. Oh, by the way, can you babysit my kid? Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. I'm on that. Don't worry about it. I got you.
The printer's not working though, bro.
Yeah. By the way, your IT. What's our firewall? Can you work on bringing down the firewall as well? What the hell? I don't do this. What are you doing to me? Like, no, I'm not going to do this. So if you're going to bring this on here, is that I have chat GPT to fix the grammar. Yes, I have to fix the grammar on top of that. Yes, exactly. So if you're going to have that person and say, yeah, by the way, be that person, then only have them be that person. It's just, please, I'm begging, I'm pleading with you, only have them be that one job, because the number of times you're like trying to coordinate all these different things and say, hey, can you do this? Can you do this? By the way, introduce that. And you're trying to, and they don't even you don't even know. Oh, by the way, we hired 20 new people. Really? Did someone want to tell me this? Like, I can't introduce all these different people. Oh, we also brought 4 new business partners. Once again, who is relaying this information? If you're going to have someone that's going to be that person and be the solidary person for that, you have to have that communication. It's imperative. So I think we kind of already talked about the challenges. I think we kind of just went over a lot of this here. And I see the comments in here. I'm going to get to them in just one second here. Before I do, Colby, we're going to start with you this time. Is how can we then measure the success of this collaboration between all of these teams? There's so many different metrics up there, and it's really tough. And we've kind of covered this in the previous shows. Say, hey, just measure this one metric, because you really can't do that. So we're just going to go with how do you measure success between the collaboration of these teams, and how do you then optimize the marketing efforts of those?
So from my perspective, you know that out of the one of the three items that you're pushing forward, that you're expecting a particular result, whether it's an increase in new car sales, an increase in used car sales, an increase in gross, an increase in, you name it. So you know that going into the message. So then you put that expectation of what is the expected increase on this? Are we going to increase by 10%? Are we going to increase by 30%? Like, what is the goal and the result that we're looking for? But at that point, like right now, we're doing a lot of stuff on our side, making adjustments. And I was explaining to the team the other day that, hey guys, this is not going to be just like this massive increase in leads. We're not going to just all of a sudden get more opportunities coming in to our CRM from, our third parties or our website. We're talking more phone opportunities. We're talking more showroom opportunities. We're talking more discussions on social media. Like, it is a lot bigger than just how many leads did you get? How many internet opportunities? And I think there's so many people that just judge all marketing by our leads are still down. Well, okay, but what about our showrooms? Our showrooms ticked up by 20%. Our phone calls increased by 20%. Our average talk time on our phone calls went from 1:30 to 4 minutes. Our closing ratio on our new phone call leads went from 28% to 40% with the higher increase of phone calls. So you have to expand outside of just that digital inbound lead to what is the entire opportunity with the store. You have to look at your overall opportunities versus that close and the adjustments that have been made on the PVRs for those.
Oh man, Colby, I don't know if you saw the show last week, and we literally talked exactly like this. I'll say the dinosaur mindset of
traditional. That's the new thing. Instead of old school, it's traditional.
However you want to phrase it.
Well, I'm just trying to be nice. I'm trying to say.
I'm just going to call a spade a spade at this point. We're calling it like it is. But the thing is, websites are going to continue to just say, you want leads? Okay, because you can count those. But it's a falsified number, because as we threw up the stat there, I posted it yesterday, and it's that in the heyday, it was a 2%. Like, that's the most. And now it's 1%. You're going to close those leads. But yeah, keep asking for more leads. Let's stop with the freaking lead form stuff, because, but that's the thing, is that you continue to ask for that. And there's so many other ways you can get opportunities and swings of the bat. But if you're going to continue to ask for that, then you're literally just taking yourself out of the game. So yes. Let's go Lisa next on this one.
I mean, just off of that, I think the conversation should be, what is the quality of our leads? How are we measuring? What types of phone calls are we getting? Are we getting calls in from our website or from our paid search ads that are asking for a service appointment? Are we seeing an increase in any particular model of interest? And so I think talking about the quality of leads is really, I'm ready for that conversation to switch there as well.
Looks like Jared is as well. Jared, you mean the leads addictions, focusing on volume and not quality. Amen. Yeah. Up to you, Dave.
Well, for me, it's really about identifying the KPIs, right? Not everything has the same goal. As you said, sure, we run campaigns that have leads as a goal. We run campaigns that have CPM as a goal. We run campaigns that have VDP views as a goal. We run campaigns that have retention as a goal, or service schedules, or, so it's identifying across all of these vendors that are working on this final objective. What does that look like? And then your goal should be incremental growth plus time. You're not turning on a vendor and 3 days later saying, why aren't my phones ringing? That's not how it works. What you do want to see is you get all these vendors to collaborate, to work together, and to start really putting out, continuous messaging. Measure it in 30 days, in 60 days, in 90 days. If you're seeing incremental growth happen on the things that matter to you, chances are it's successful. It's kind of a mixed marketing model, or a mixed media model is really ideal. Not a lot of dealers use that because it's a pretty complicated system of measurement. But it really boils down to that. Are you growing the things that you care about growing since you've implemented the collaboration? Are you measuring it? Are you holding people accountable? Are you finding the holes?
And singular roll-up reports is not the answer.
That's correct.
What? And the thing with that, Lisa, as well, is that I'm going to say something that we'll see. Well, we'll see. We'll see. People know me at this point, but I've only seen a handful that can actually do a roll-up report correctly. And there are very few that can do it correctly. And so people that are telling you they can, I would work the facts on that one is all I'm going to say. Work the facts on that one. People that are telling you that they can. Jeff is saying need to have a macro view and understanding of the data, aka facts, not the feelings. Amen to that one. If more dealers, if more calls decrease your conversion ratio, I'm going to say ratio. You need more. You do not. Yes. Don't forget about branding. Yes, and yes, branding. All right, Wendy. What's your take on this?
Okay, so for years now, first thing I do for all the teams that when I had my own team in the dealership and now is we run month-to-date reports from the CRM. So you have to have good CRM usage. Your people all need to know how to use the CRM because it's garbage in, garbage out on your data. If you don't reconcile your showroom traffic daily to all the showroom visits, are they sourced properly? If they're not, who didn't source them? Drive them nuts in the sales department or the desking manager, whomever it is. Get us the right data so we can report and you know where your true ROI lies. Then I like to look at those month to date by lead source and by agent so I can see performance by lead source, performance by agent. And if your BDMs or your whoever doesn't know how to read those reports, teach them. Let your chief marketing strategy officer do that. Let your chief marketing strategy officer have him or herself or someone under them reconcile the daily dashboard. You're going to see what dupes are there because the salesman didn't want to share credit for a BDC lead and they logged it as a walk-in. Or you had somebody that didn't show up. Why? Because the salesperson broomed them off the lot. You drove the traffic. We drove the traffic. They never got through the door. Then you need to break it down, whatever you're looking at. What's my total lead count? What's my valid lead count? Bad leads, bad emails, bad whatever. What's a bad lead? Squeeze page. Good luck to you. Squeeze page. I love them, but you have to clean up your data. And if they're bad, make yourself a bad lead source in your CRM and create the ad source mirrored as the provider. But then remove them from your reporting so you can have total lead reporting and valid lead reporting. Then look at your engagement by lead source. Are we engaging? Then when we engage, what's our conversion to an appointment? Before COVID, it was 70%. Now your BDAs will be lucky to get 50% conversion without added follow-up needed or a TO to a salesperson or somebody because they need more details or the timelines are improving, but we all know they were really extended timelines. So we didn't necessarily convert them that first visit. So our follow-up needs to be all over it. And anytime we don't set an appointment on an engagement, thanks for your time on the phone and give a clear action plan. And, I know you got to check your schedule. Do that. If I don't hear back from you in 2 days, I'll be giving you a call. Tell them how it's going to work, your opportunities, and own the situation, control the conversations. Then what's your show rate of those appointments that were set? Why is it low? Were they valid appointments that were set? Or was the customer, yeah, Friday sounds good. To coin a phrase from Sean Kelly, when I talked to him about active listening, which I'm really passionate about, that we listen to our customers, that we read the comments in their leads, that we read to the texts. When there are enough objections, we ask them, ask the question. We have not because we ask not. What's holding you back, Mr. Customer, from coming in? And fix it and make it work for them. So we have to know the validity of the leads. We have to know where the process is breaking down, have a consistent process, and then look at it and fix it. If we're not engaging, why aren't we engaged? Are our texts, emails, and voicemails not each one a relevant call to action pertaining to that lead source that brought them to us? When they engage, are they converting? If they're not converting, why aren't they converting? So, I could go on for hours, but that's the big stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to bring up a couple comments here. We got Jared here saying need to have a clear definition of loss versus bad, and amen to that one. Lead that is part of onboarding, and all staff management understand the definition. So many opportunities wrong labeled wrong. Jared, you and I think have had probably a few of these over that whole conversation. Jeff is saying last touch usually gets the trophy, not necessarily the whole truth. Brooke adds color here. Jeff, yes, Jeff, I could go on for probably 2 hours just about that topic right there, and that is true because CRMs are only looking at the last thing. That's where CRMs unfortunately only can see that. Versus that's where whether you're looking at Google Analytics and see a part of that, but that's when you're looking at something larger where you can see, hey, where did everything get along the way? Because, and I know I've talked about this a lot, so I don't want to go too deeply on it. Look at any of the past shows I've talked about this. So yes, 100%. And he's gonna. I knew someone's gonna bring up the Jordan situation. It's the Jordan connection, 100%. Yeah, I mean, anytime you're looking at it, there's 900 touch points within a given journey of anything. That's what we're talking about here. But yeah, at the end of the bottom point here is that if you are wanting to do it, I'm going to say it's the correct way, but if you want to do it the quality way, what is your structure? Is the communication such that our pay plans are such that we're going to continue to pay you based on lead, based on closing, based on this? Then the team is going to say, well, I'm not going to put that in the system because I'm only going to put the leads in that are going to show up. I'm only going to put this in that I get paid on. And there's so many things that are broken that we can fix if we want to. But right now it's garbage in, garbage out. So that's a much bigger topic. But we can definitely save that for another episode. So I'm going to start. We did Lisa. We haven't started with you, so we're going to start Lisa. So how can dealerships balance the need for collaboration with the need for specializations? And should we be training our employees to work across the teams, or is it better to have a dedicated specialist?
I like the idea of having like a chief strategy officer, and a lot of dealerships, and for what we do, like have a marketing director, especially if there's a small group or a group of stores. So I mean, I like the collaboration with getting everybody's input at the dealership, but I like somebody that is, fully capable to communicate across the line from what maybe is happening with corporate, bringing on a community page to, what's happening on the sales floor. So I think we still need the full collaboration, and hopefully that lead person is getting all the collaborators together too. But having a single point, that's definitely helpful.
Dave, what's your take?
Wrangling cats.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, you're good. But it's wrangling cats sometimes, right? So.
Oh, it's definitely herding cats, my friend. I think it's like half our job is like wrangling cats and babysitting people. So yeah.
I mean, for me, if we're talking, especially on the vendor side, if we're talking about the difference between specialists and a one-stop shop, I'm going to be pretty passionate about that as a specialist. so that's obviously going to, but I will say this. So many years ago, one of my very first digital dealers, a guy named Russ Gentry, who's been around the industry for a long time, absolutely one of my favorite people, came up to me at the end of the show and he said, you know what, look, nobody has all the dealers. There's no reason that we as vendors should be banging heads against each other all the time. No one has all the dealers. No one's close to having all the dealers. And it's ridiculous for us to do that when we could be working together. And it really hit home for me. And since that time, Reunion Marketing, they do competitive work to what we do. I send people to Reunion and they send people to me. That's just kind of always been my thing, is finding people that are really, really good in the industry and referring my clients back and forth to them so that they have, people that are excellent. I know Lisa does some really cool stuff with technical SEO. And that's something that I would absolutely, a client of mine, even though Lisa's in my space, I have no problem saying to a client, hey, you know what? I'm friends with Lisa. Lisa's really smart. Call Lisa. So if you have vendors that take that attitude to start with, it makes all the difference in the world when you want to work with specialists, because they're excited about working with each other. They can help you work with other, Full Path, or, formerly Auto Lead Star. Same thing. I sent tons of dealers their way. They sent dealers my way. We had amazing conversations. Every time we get together at a show, we're all friends. We talk about best practices. We talk about how we can make each other better. And if that kind of collaboration happens within vendors, it becomes a million times easier then for the dealer to expect it at the store level too.
There's enough room for all of us, man. It's amazing to me
Yep.
how many times that certain companies or people will say, nope, no. I'm like, this industry is so large. Like, even if you like exactly, even if you're specifically SEM, there, you know what? Sometimes my personality might rub someone the wrong way. Shocker, I know, but sometimes people are like, you know what, Brooke? You like Jordans. I like Kobe's. I like bronze. Well, I don't agree with you, but you might not like me because of it, and that's okay. So, you know what? Why I might lose the business today, if I go and burn that bridge, then I burn that bridge forever. So let me set you up with someone else, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So absolutely what you're saying.
I
Let's go
think,
down. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, just really quick. I think it's also, if there's a company that's trying to be it all, if they're trying to be a creative agency and they're trying to be a technology company, a lot of times you'll find on the back end there's a certain amount of like crumbling happening.
Yeah.
So I would
Yep.
be cautious about some of those things for sure.
If they're the one-stop shop, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yes.
double dipping on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Wendy, talk to us. Talk to us on this.
Okay, so I think what Dave said is absolutely phenomenal, and that's the way I get so excited. Like, I think it was last year was the first year that Fred and I went to conventions, and I got so excited. I think it was NADA in Vegas when there were so many of us BDC people there, and because even in my area, there's so many different flavors, you guys, and we're not all as people. We're not going to all rub people the same way, you know. I don't think age has anything to do with it. It could be your personality. I personally, all transparency, um, I was known as a hard ass trainer and I made a couple BDMs cry. I'm sorry, but they weren't doing their jobs, you guys. And my loyalty is to the dealer. So I'm getting better, and I've got BDMs under me now that I can have be the face of the company when I don't want to tell someone what's really happening. But there are other dealers that want exactly that, and they want to hold their people accountable. Then there are those that want to micromanage, and I don't know, I gave you my business, just show me some traffic. So I think that collaboration amongst ourselves as providers, I think whether it's a product or a training or coaching or whatever it is, it's so exciting when we have other people who are in the same wheelhouse, because the best ideas come from within. Whether it's your own team at a dealer, your team at your company, wherever it is, hashtag stronger together. That's what it's all about. And in this age, especially, look at this. We're all in the same room, but we're not in the same room. I mean, who'd have thunk, right? And it just gets my blood just absolutely on fire, and arrows and beams shooting. And I get so excited about it, for real, because we have together the solution. We need to collaborate. We need to share, put all our experiences, all our perspectives. I'm also big on mindset training and perspective training. Teach your teams to understand the perspective and the mindset of your dealer, of your customer, or your opportunity, rather, whatever. So I think that we just need to educate people and give them options, and then let them choose.
Love it. Colby, over to you.
All right. I'm going to quote Jordan Cox from Gates Auto in Indiana. A quote, I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious. And I say that to say this: we can't say one thing and do another. We can't say something publicly of like, oh, internet leads are not the biggest thing in the world. We got to look at everything. But then internally, all we do is focus around internet leads and not dive into the other aspects. I also believe that, whatever you put out, you get back tenfold. So when it comes to being a collaborator and the idea of collaborating within the group and all the various niches that we have and all the specialists, Dave and Lisa and Wendy and you, Brooke, y'all may be specialists in certain items, but you have knowledge in so many other areas, life knowledge, experience, from your personal life and your work life and all these other things. And me as a marketing strategy guy at a dealer group, I'm going to lean on all of those aspects. So just because you're a collaborator doesn't mean you're a decision maker. So to collaborate means that you're just inputting information to allow the person that is the decision maker on that specific subject to make the proper decision.
Love it. Love it. Okay, before we've got two more questions. I know I'm looking at the time up here, so we got two more questions here. The last question we're round out with is the actual digital dealer and what we're discussing. So the last question here, before we jump into that question, and of course we'll end with the lightning round because of course it's a lightning round. But we've talked a little bit about this a little bit, but I want to dive in a little bit more. Is that how can we stay up to date on the latest trends technology in paid search, BDC, and social marketing? And what resources and tools do you all recommend for keeping up ourselves and our teams informed? Let's start with Dave. You're to my right here. Let's go, Dave.
It's a good question. It's from my side, when I'm talking about my employees, for example, and what I want them to learn. You said a really good one. I love Digital Dealer. I love the shows. I know Lisa and I, and maybe Colby or Brooke. I don't know who all's going, but several of us are going to Kane Auto in 2 weeks. Digital Dealer after that. I'm going to be at NIADA after that. I'm going to go to Digital Dealer in the fall. I'm going to go to Driving Sales in September. I'm probably going to continue to skip NADA because it's just too big for me. But I go to as many of these as I can, and it's really important to me to take team members and rotate who they are, especially people that are brand new in the business, and drop them that atmosphere, let them go get demos, go talk to experts, go to educational sessions, go learn everything you can. Those shows are a huge resource. I know a lot of people don't love them. I do. I had a sales trainee many years ago who was brand new, and right after she started, she ended up being a digital dealer with us. And she asked, and nobody knew because we had a really new sales team, something something around what's a DMS. Somebody had said something about a DMS. And she's like, "What's a DMS? I don't really know what a DMS is." I challenged them to go find a DMS company and get a demo. She went and got 3 demos at 3 different DMS companies and ended up being the top sales rep we had at the company a year later because she was put in that environment where she could learn. So for me, that's huge. LinkedIn and some other ones are great, but for me, I love the shows.
Love it. Let's go to Lisa.
I definitely love connecting with people in our industry, and when I hear somebody that I feel like is hyper intelligent, I want to get in there. I want to talk to them. I want to see what books they're reading. Even I love researching people outside of even our industry to learn about other things and other technologies. I love conferences, but I would say that my go-to is our industry and collaborating with people that do other things than I do, and also getting a perspective on all sorts of things. Yeah, so connection with people.
And our industry is awesome. We have such amazing
Mhm.
people in this industry.
Yeah.
Colby, down to you.
I mean, the word of the day is collaboration. I think that you have to do that all the time. It's not just during, big events. You can't roll up to a big event and say, okay, I'm going to learn from all these people because you haven't talked to them in 6 months or 3 months or whatever. Like, you have to continue the conversation all the time and the random convos and build a relationship with people. Relationships are so important. You get to learn who the person is and how you can communicate with them and lean on them in more ways than one. And then whenever you are at something like Digital Dealer coming up, you're able to enjoy them in person and see, actually be able to communicate face to face versus on a Zoom or any of that nature. And then the conversations get even deeper. You go more granular with stuff, and you can better understand the questions that you can ask this person because now you've experienced more of their knowledge. So I think that it's a constant collaboration. I mean, I do. Look, the only way that I am anywhere near where I am in the industry is because of the people that I've been able to fortunately build relationships with. If I tried to do this on my own, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to all of you fine ladies and gentlemen.
Amen. Wendy, bring us home on this one.
Collaboration, you guys, collaboration. I have to tell you personally, I just did the same thing. Dave, I have 3, we're actually going to Carrie Pash's women's leadership thing in Vegas next month. I think Martha Alvarado is going to meet us there too. But I have now an onshore, because most of our agents are offshore. Anybody who doesn't know that, I've been shouting it from the rooftops for 5 years. I don't, their families need to be fed too, sorry. But, and it's cheaper labor. But I have 3 gals that I'm taking to that. And then I've encouraged them, like one of the gals used to be with Dealership Toolkit, mentioning Russ Gentry. Brittany is now one of my BDMs. I have Natalie, who's in Houston, Texas. I have Vanjie Torres that left being a 20-year-old administrator for one of the colleges because she didn't want it to be her end game, and she loves automotive. So I'm going to start taking to them. I can't afford it because I'm a little guy, but I'm also incentivizing their pay plans so that when I take them to conventions, and here I have a pain point for you guys as vendors, and but when you take them to conventions, let them fly free, let them absorb it, let them set up demos, and then incentivize them if they get a partnership or a tool that our dealers can use. Me, I'm to the point where I need people to do this for me because I want to be able to be free for a strategy session if a dealer just wants to shoot the bull for a half hour to know his options or whatever. Not necessarily nothing having to do with gaining business. And I know they tell me I'm stupid that way, that I need to monetize on everything, but I do me and you do you. So I think it all is good in the end because we help enrich one another as human beings and we help educate one another. Okay. So yes, Brian, 2 ears and 1 mouth. I'm working on that one. But ask Fred. So I think that it's important though, as vendors, guys, if we reach out to you because we want to know more about your product because our dealers constantly come out to us and say, okay, Wendy, what'd you learn at Digital Dealer? What'd you learn at NADA or NIADA or Used Car Show or whatever, that you can tell them. So take it seriously when a vendor says, hey, I need to learn more. Can I get a demo? They don't necessarily want an income producing partnership with you. They could truly want to learn more about your product. But you know what? The follow-up drops off after the event. They say, yeah, we'll get you a demo, and then you don't hear anything. Then you maybe ask a second time and you don't hear anything. I really want to learn about all this stuff, but I'm not going to beg to learn somebody's business either. So that's what I got.
Yeah. And I would also say, like, when it comes to any event, is that don't go in expecting that you're just like, hey, well, I know everything, so teach me. Go in with a game plan, whether you're going into as an agency that, hey, we need to grow our business, or I'm going in to learn. Have a game plan. Thinking, all right, I want to hear this person. Have a backup because you might not get in to see that person. So make sure you have a game plan of who you want to see, blah, blah, blah. But don't just go in and haphazardly thinking, well, I am going to, through osmosis, learn everything. That's not going to happen. And then think, well, this conference sucked. Well, no, I'm sorry, you sucked because you didn't have a game plan in place. That's just, so make sure you have a game plan. And that networking is so key. If you meet someone and then think that you're just going to have a connection right off the bat, and then that's just going, well, you've got to work at that relationship. Any relationship is going to need work. So due to time's sake, we're gonna for this last question is that all of us and many other brilliant minds and at Digital Dealers the last day at 10 a.m. and we're speaking. It's got automotive marketplace peeps in the house making some noise. When I say auto, you say genius.
Auto genius.
I know what you meant there. I got you there. But we're speaking the last day. It's a think tank. It's from 10 until 11:30. It's a 90-minute session. And honestly, I think for me, it's different. I've been to so many different conferences, and this is the first time I've seen, like, it's more of a one-on-one. Hey, come ask us questions. You have a question about, name it. There's going to be someone there. So we're going to go around and just kind of like talk about it a little bit, but talking about this upcoming roundtable at Digital Dealer and what the attendees can expect to learn, what they can, how the discussion and address the most pressing pain points of every corner of the dealership. So let's start with Lisa on this one. Lisa, just kind of talk about this upcoming, like what the attendees can expect.
Yeah, so each group has a different subject matter expert talking about their subject or topic of hand. I'm working with Colby, and we're talking about paid search strategies and tactics, and so that's how the digital dealer part is going to function for us. And I think it's a great opportunity for dealers to come and sit with incredible minds and ask the deep questions, ask the questions that maybe you don't feel like you're getting the answers to, or, bring some information from your dealership that you want to get some eyes on. I think that's a great opportunity. Yeah, and get those collaborations.
Love it. Love it. Let's jump down to Wendy this time, and then we'll go over to Colby and have Dave bring us home.
Cool. So for the BDC portion, we've got two trainers, consultants, et cetera, two BDC experts, and we've got from within the trenches, we've got Martha Alvarado at Wonderies Toyota, who's got an incredible hybrid BDC, where I've never seen a team or a better culture with sales and BDC working together. So and also for launches, we're going to cover on-site traditional BDCs, hiring, whatever you need to know. We're going to discuss outsourcing and the options and what you should look for. And we're going to also discuss work from home teams, whether they're onshore your own people or they're offshore hires that are direct hires to the dealer at about a 70% savings in payroll. But anyway, we're going to discuss all of that. And really, whatever you need, whatever burning questions you have about BDC, we'll be there to answer them.
Colby, over to you.
Here's what I think about the session and the like little roundtable thing that we're doing. I think that anybody that is going to digital dealer, when they go and speak with vendors that they're looking at, come in. Number one, you need to come to digital dealer with an idea of where do you need to improve in your store, and specifically what are you looking for. Don't go in blind, and don't go in and be like, hey, I'm just here to see kind of what's around. Have a plan, write it out. Go and speak to particular vendors, and then go look at the other people in that same space and compare and contrast across the board. Write all of it down, take furious amounts of notes, then bring it to this session. And then we can all collectively, all the different parties that are going to be in this group, be able to help in a very large collaborative type of way, help you process all of this if you're unable to, and make sure that you're taking the appropriate steps when you leave, not just, hey, I have this great idea, it's all on a piece of paper, and I'm going to go back. But then usually we don't do anything when we go back. We just kind of take the piece of paper, we put it in the drawer, and then, hey, next digital dealer, I'm going to go look at this. Like, come out of digital dealer with the plan. I think our session and everything that we're putting together, I think that's the best way to organize that plan when you leave. Come in there with all the notes. We'll help you structure it. We'll help you put it all together, and then leave with action items when you get back to the store.
And Jeff says, get a bag for all the swag. Yes, that's true as well. Dave.
So I am incredibly excited about this. I have spoken at shows with April before. I've spoken at shows with Sean Welsh before. This format to me is the most valuable thing that I've ever been a part of. The ability for dealers to actually have true one-on-one conversations, ask questions. They guide what we talk about, right? I'm not here to tell you what I think. You're going to ask me what you want to know. And that's a huge shift in how this is going to operate. My table is going to be myself and General Motors' Jeff Hunter, who is the organic social guy, and I'm going to talk about paid social. All in all, though, dealers, for me, Digital Dealer Florida is one of my favorite shows. I had the pleasure many years ago, and I'm going to call you out right now, Malibu Ben. I got to meet Malibu Ben Hadley at that show.
Can you describe what Malibu means?
I will be happy to tell that story off air. I'm not going to throw them that far in.
I mean, I have a text here saying, ask Dave what it means.
I will take that off air. I will not do that to Ben. But yeah, it's just a fun show, and it's this group, the way this is organized and the way April structured this, I think is one of the coolest ideas I've seen for that reason. The dealers drive these conversations, not us, and that's huge.
100%. And the same thing when April came to me, and I just go, we were having numerous conversations back and forth, like, how can we make this most beneficial for the dealer? How can we make it most beneficial for that relationship? And that exactly what we're saying, this collaboration. And Malibu Ben and his mango pods. There are so many stories right now that need to be developed here at this point. But exactly for that, it was, hey, how can we have that one-on-one question? Because so many times we go to different conferences and you go back thinking, and I just had that question, and I couldn't get it answered. But we ran out of time. I had my hand raised. They didn't call on me, or honestly, we just ran out of time. And I wanted that question answered. It was at the end of the conference, and they had a jet to go get on their plane or whatever it was. And this gives you a chance. And I apologize. Sean Welch and I are on the just know everything and come ask us questions. That's what we're on. That's kind of what it comes down to. And so whatever the question may be, maybe, buzzword bingo, whatever it happens to be, insert whatever, you have a question about it, just come ask us. And if it's something, Brooke, it's more of a BDC question. That's fine. Come ask us. If it's something that's really intricate and for some reason Sean and I don't have the answer, we don't have an ego. We're going to be like, hey, we'll go get Wendy. Let's ask Wendy. She'll know. Or, hey, that's more of a really intricate question that Lisa's going to have the answer to that. Let's go get Lisa. Like, we're all on this panel together. It's no problem. We'll just grab someone else. Like, hey, you are more of an expert in that area. Let's grab you. So that's what's so great about this, that we have so many incredible people with that. So before we jump in the lightning round, we've got a lot of comments rolling in here, and I'm going to throw these up here before we've got a lot of Malibu comments coming in at this point. So we definitely struck a chord on this one. We've got here, we got Jared said, Malibu Ben is mango pods. Troy's coming in here. April is fantastic. Yes, she is a freaking rock star. Ben is coming back with make facts, not feelings after dark. Okay, I'll definitely look into that. I don't know if that.
And there needs to be a facts not feelings BTS, like behind the scenes, so we can have Ben actually explain Malibu.
Yes.
So wait, let's say this, like, as we're talking about, like, after
Password
dark.
protected.
I was going to say, is it after dark like the X-rated version, or do you mean like at nighttime? I'm not sure what you mean by that one, so you have to clarify that. It's definitely password protection. We've got there's so many things we got going on here. We've got Hannah saying so excited for this, and Hannah's also on the panel. Yep. We've got Hannah, great show. Thank you, Hannah. Hannah's phenomenal. And Hannah, a lot of posts you're seeing coming up that all of us are posting. Hannah is doing a phenomenal job behind the scenes, creating that. So with that, I know, thank you for sticking with us. I know we've went a little bit longer, but we've got such incredible people on right here that it's okay, because the content's been awesome. So, oh my gosh, sorry, Paul. Ben is now laughing. So we got Ben laughing as well. Malibu Ben. And so with that, we're at that point of the show, though, ladies and gentlemen, is that we have got to the light. All these incredible individuals here. So we started with Dave last time. So Lisa, we are going to start with you on the first question here. Is the first question for everyone is going to be, how can everyone find you? Now, if you're watching, I know that you're going to see the personal link up here. But those that are going to be watching, they're listening in podcast land, they need to know how they can find you. So you're going to see Lisa's link up here. But Lisa, how can everyone find you?
The best way to find me is on LinkedIn, or you can also just hit me up on text. My cell number is 832-594-7583.
There you go. All right. We're going to go down now we'll go Dave. We're going to go over to you because I've got yours up here. So Dave, what's the best way our listeners can find you?
Yes, kind of the same. LinkedIn, I'm pretty regular on there. And if you want to text me, please do 614-323-1172.
All right. Colby, down to you.
LinkedIn or Facebook. That's honestly the easiest way. Either way, if you don't have my cell, it's on my LinkedIn or Facebook. You can, because I know you're not right. When you're watching this, you're not writing down cell numbers. So just go to LinkedIn or Facebook and find me there. My cell's on there, or you can just send me a DM. Either way.
Fantastic. Wendy.
Same thing. LinkedIn, Facebook. Also, my website, bdcangels.com. Any messages there through contact us will come to me. And my cell phone is 414-303-0493.
There you go. I mean, if you've got every possible opportunity to get in touch with these wonderful individuals here. All right, Wendy, we started with Linda with you, so we're going to start with you. What is your favorite thing to do outside of work? What are your hobbies? What are you doing here?
Can I pick two? Can I say razoring and RVing?
I think those are both very, very good options. So let's go with that. Yeah, for sure. Colby, over to you.
I'm a lawn guy. I work on my lawn. Like, that's literally, I'm like pure dad mode. Like, I go home, I put on my New Balances, and I go mow the yard and do all that stuff. Like, the manual labor is nice because I don't have to use my brain.
Oh, I love that you said lawn. Back in the day, I can't remember who was on the show, and we were talking about this. And I'm a huge Yankees fan. So back in the day when I full up did the Yankee emblem in our yard, I'd have people stop and take pictures of our yard. So I totally get it. Lisa, up to you.
So I love to do art. I'm actually a graphic artist, and so I love to create.
I love it.
Yeah.
Dave.
Man, I'm a 53-year-old father of a 4-year-old. There's no hobbies in my life.
He fills
hobbies
in.
is
He
going to your
fills in
kids.
for Bond villains when they're on vacation.
Naps. My
Little
hobbies
martini.
are naps. That's my favorite hobby.
Negronis and naps.
And naps.
Negronis and naps.
Breakfast
Naps.
napping. Yes, and I do like Negronis actually.
Yeah, Negronis and naps.
Oh, that's a great answer. I like that. Okay, let's go. Dave, you answered last. We're going to start with you, and let's go. The name of the show is Facts Not Feelings. So, whether it's in business or in your personal life, how are you distinguishing facts from feelings?
That's a hard one for me because I am a hothead. so, so I tend to react to facts with feelings far too often. But I'm also a massive researcher. So I wake up stupid early every day, and before I start my day of actual work, I'm on 20 different websites. I read for 90 minutes and really, really try to, and then I ask really smart people like Malibu Ben Hadley.
Ben, I from now on, you're just Malibu Ben. That's officially you're that now. Lisa, over to you.
I also I'm super passionate, so I think that comes through most of the time when I'm collaborating and working with people. But I really try to put myself in the other person's shoes, and I think that helps them for quite a bit.
Love it.
Understand what they're feeling and understand what they're thinking, and then I'm out of the super data nerd. So data
It's
doesn't
amazing how
matter.
many people don't do that though. Like just stop and think, how is this being perceived on the other end? Like how, if I'm that person, what does it feel like? Yeah. Colby.
Most of the time, you can understand fact versus feeling when the conversation starts with "I think."
Yep.
So
Yep.
if somebody's communicating with you about any subject, hey, I think. Well, hold on. Do you think or do you know? Is it based off of factual information or is it your opinion? Because your opinion, it could be fact or it could be feeling, but there has to be some kind of truth base in there.
It's amazing, and it's really true. Like anytime I hear someone say "I think" or "I feel," I was like, and here comes the feelings portion of the conversation. All right, Wendy, what about you?
So I have to think a lot about the 2 ears, 1 mouth thing because I'm very impulsive, I'm very spontaneous, and I'm way too transparent. So I have to consider other perspectives, first of all. Number 2, if something doesn't immediately deliver the right way to me, I have to pause and I have to think and I have to remind myself what Harleen Doan, when I worked for Greg Obel at Dealer Strong years ago, would always tell me, take the emotion out of it. And that's why your title of your show resonates so well with me. And I have to take the emotion out of it and I have to just look at the facts and then decide how I can proceed or respond in a way that's going to be agreeable to both parties, whoever you're talking to or whatever the situation is.
It's amazing, man. It's the amount of time, if you can just take the drama out of it, it just makes things a lot better for all parties. Like just calm down. All right, let's end with what everyone loves about the industry the most. And let's start with Colby.
People. That's the easiest thing. People.
All right.
I mean,
Wendy. Sorry.
No,
go ahead. I cut you off.
I mean, I was just gonna go more people. The whole thing. I mean, everything we sell a product or we pitch a product or we service for our product, but none of it really matters in the end if there's not the proper people in those locations or the proper people to collaborate with. So what I love the most about the industry in general is the people, because I know that I could call each and every one of you after this and we can have another hour-long conversation about just random stuff. And that's what I love about it, is that it becomes an entire community versus just like, hey, I'm going to work and then I'm going to go home and I hated my entire day. Like I love going to work because of the people.
Yes, that is by far the most. I actually have to go back, and that is the number one answer I get every single time. Is like, and I get variations of different things, but people we have incredible people. Wendy, over to you.
People. And I have to mention something. I know Colby, I don't know the rest of you, but I mean, as far as how we met, but back in COVID when we had our BDC rooms and when we were all starting out together in Clubhouse, that's where we started a lot of these relationships, right, Colby? And all the guys that are providing the comments, they were all in those rooms. And then we all started collaborating. Everybody was blessed in so many ways. It's all about people and relationships.
Well, there's no secrets in automotive when it comes to this. There's no secrets. This is how many books are you going to open in the library to finally get the answer? Because it's all there.
Well, I apparently we've got in the side comments here, we've got, speaking of no secrets, there might be a secret image of Malaben. We've got Roben, Malaben coming up here. So there might be a secret image coming of that.
Well, that's about it. That's for the facts, not feelings behind the
After
scenes.
dark.
Password protected.
Yes, that's the
After
After Dark version.
Hosted on Showtime.
Showtime. All right, Lisa, up to you.
It's such a multifaceted question. Definitely people, definitely the product. I love cars. I love to drive fast. I love the way that since COVID and new car inventory pinch, there's been just like this huge influx of innovation. But I think my favorite thing about it is people and the way that underdogs in our world are able to just like create such an immense amount of success. So I love the stories of people too and how they got into automotive and what they've made of their lives inside of this industry.
Yeah, and it's amazing how many people, the majority don't start in automotive. Like my background's in the medical field, but I switched over. But yes, Dave.
I mean, shocker. Also the people. So, but it is it's the truth. It's the connections that you're able to make in this industry, whether it's with other vendors, whether it's with your clients, whether it's with your team, is something that I haven't experienced in other industries. We onboarded a dealer the other day, and I get on a call with the guy, and he immediately says, "Do you know that 9 years ago, you pitched me conquest email and didn't leave me alone for 8 goddamn months? You called me every day." And I actually did remember it. And I was dreading doing the onboarding because I was afraid he would remember it, but he did. We were able to laugh about it. And it was, because that's really truly the kind of connection that people make in this business. And I haven't seen that elsewhere. And there's a ton of warmth and a ton of, sincerity and authenticity with the people that work. Hannah is a great example of people that I just treasure. That I've really enjoyed having experiences with, and I hope that continues.
I think the winner is people, I would say. I'm gonna agree with y'all on that one. So everyone, thank you. We just had a absolutely killer of an episode today, and it's all because of you all. Just thank you so much. Thank you for all the comments rolling in. Just absolutely, not only were they incredibly comical, and I super appreciate it because it's been one of those weeks that we all need a little laughter in our life, but just amazing, beautiful comments coming in here. Beautiful. Yeah, let's go with beautiful. Yeah. I don't know why I said beautiful.
Shout out to Auto Genius for jumping in and being the commentators.
Yeah, and this is what we're talking about: is that people and the collaboration. It's like you can count on your people, and it's so interesting when the guests come on and you see that you see your community all of a sudden show up, and that is what you just saw. You saw your Auto Genius people show up here, and we'll round it out with Jordan GPT. I need 10 variations of this title. So it is. So just thank you so much. And once again, is that it's Digital Dealer. It's at last day. It's at 10 to 11:30. If I have to tell you how to register for Digital Dealer, we might have a bigger problem. So just go to Digital Dealer. The link's been up there 15 times. Go to Digital Dealer. Find where it is. You guys know how to do this all. So we hope to see you there and bring your questions. And with that, everyone, I sign out this all the time. Find a way to serve today. Find a way to help someone ease their day, make their day a little bit better, whether that's a kind smile, whether that's helping them out, open a door, whatever that may be. Just make their day a little bit easier. And with that, everyone,
see you in Tampa.